We are Baltimore. We are Wisconsin.
It's a great Saturday night in Los Angeles, California. Thanks for staying up late with us tonight. We're ready for the Brewers and the Los Angeles Dodgers, the Brew Crew and the Blue Crew tonight. And a big start tonight for Brandon Beachy after his second Tommy John surgery, his first start in nearly 2 years. The former Atlanta Brave is on the mound against Taylor Youngman tonight, who makes career start number 7, his first career start at Dodger Stadium. And hi, everybody. We welcome you from beautiful Dodger Stadium. Great to have you with us. Alongside Bill Schroeder, I'm Brian Anderson. Craig Cashon is our reporter here tonight. And yes, the two pitchers are in the spotlight as Beachy makes his comeback tonight. And Taylor Youngman has been quite the surprise for the Milwaukee Brewers.
Yeah, after coming up with an earned run average in AAA around 7, Taylor Youngman's been outstanding. In 5 of 6 starts, he's given up 2 or fewer runs. And now all of a sudden he's got that curveball working for him very well his last 3 starts. Outstanding work, a 142 earned run average. Very good his last time out at Cincinnati. 8 innings, 1 run, only 4 hits. This guy's coming of age. He's been a big surprise for the Brewers. One of the bigger surprises in all of baseball so far this year.
He seems to be handling the big league spotlight well. So since June 9th, which was Youngman's first start, that was also the day Chris Heston threw the no-hitter for the San Francisco Giants. You see, Youngman has the second lowest earned run average among rookies in the National League. So that's great news for the Brewers. Youngman gets a chance on the mound tonight at Dodger Stadium. We'll get a perspective from his catcher, Jonathan Lucroy. Craig Cashon comes back with that story right after this.
Save big money at Menards on all your home improvement needs. And by Miller Lite, the original light Pilsner. Cheers, it's Miller time. Back in LA, the Brew Crew and the Dodgers here tonight. They're the battery mates. It's Jonathan Lucroy and Taylor Youngman. They've been very productive in 6 starts together so far, and Youngman making his 7th big league start here tonight. Hi, everybody. Craig Kishon back on board with you, and with Youngman out on the mound, well, this guy has not only been a pleasant surprise, but also pitching at a very elite level early in his career, and his battery mate Jonathan Lucroy tells us why.
The main thing is that he's a very competitive guy. You know, he doesn't panic. He's very, he's very stable out there. I guess you could say he's a good guy. I think he's going to be he's number one material for sure. I mean, he has it together mentally, and he doesn't get rattled real easy. But it's nice to see a guy like that come in and pitch like that on a stage, at the big league level. So he's done really well. He has that crossfire delivery, which means he steps across his body to throw the ball. So he's actually kind of throwing from behind the right-handed hitter. So the angle of the ball coming in is completely different. It's like a Jared Weaver type delivery, and it's very deceiving. Hard to square a ball up. So, that coupled with that and him being very big, tall guy with velocity, I think that's why you're seeing what you're seeing. So, it's a lot of ability there.
Well, it was a tough loss on Friday, so the Crew looks to even up the series here tonight. B.A. and Rock are set to bring in the first pitch. Dodgers, Brewers coming up next.
Jackie Robinson, his number at the top deck, up there on the 9th floor. One of the many greats, and played for the Brooklyn Dodgers, ultimately the Los Angeles Dodgers. Brewers baseball on Fox Sports Wisconsin, presented by Potawatomi Hotel and Casino. Book your stay now. 74 degrees on a Saturday night at Dodger Stadium. Chavez Ravine. There is Craig Counsell, a Dodger in 1999. His only year here in Los Angeles, managing for the first time in Los Angeles. The Brewers had a heartbreaker last night. Felt like they gave one away. Dodgers scored 3 unearned runs in the bottom of the 7th inning to win the game 3-2. And now Counsell and the Brewers trying to even this series with a win tonight. Check the Potawatomi batting order for Milwaukee. Gerardo Parra leads off. Jonathan Lucroy back in the 2 spot. Ryan Braun hits 3rd. In the middle, you've got Adam Lynn, Carlos Gomez, and Aramis Ramirez. Gene Segura will play short. 3 hits last night. Scooter Gennett at second base, and Youngman rounds out the starting 9. And Rock, quite the comeback story here. Brandon Beachy, not one but two Tommy John surgeries. His first start in the big leagues since August of 2013.
Yeah, he pitched parts of 4 seasons with the Atlanta Braves. 46 starts with the Braves. And on the comeback trail was down in the minor leagues. Made 4 starts down in the minor leagues between A-ball and AAA. 1-1 and a 4.20 or a 2.41 earned run average for Beachy.
28-year-old right-hander. It's been a long comeback for him. And he is on the mound for the Dodgers, hoping to stay in the rotation. This will be a good test for him. Obviously, the pitch count is something the Dodgers are going to keep a close eye on. And the Brewers, not a very patient team as a unit. Probably see them take more than they normally do, as Parra, a free swinger right away, gets ahead in the count. 2 balls, no strikes.
Well, down in the minor leagues, Beachy throwing a lot of fastballs. He used to be in the mid-90s, 95, 96 with the Braves, but after those 2 surgeries, velocity not the same. According to Darnell Coles, the reports down in the minors, throws a lot of fastballs early in the count, so the Brewers look to be aggressive early.
3 balls, no strikes on Parra, and there's the first strike. I'm sure Beachy's dealing with a lot of nerves, and you go through a long comeback like that. You don't know what your arm's going to be like. You don't know if it's going to hold up. He came back from 1 Tommy John surgery and then tore that ligament again as Parra turns that one around, a base hit. So Gerardo Parra with a leadoff single tonight.
Catcher number 20.
Well, let's check out the Dodgers. Menard's defense tonight, the best defensive team in all of baseball. They've committed only 35 errors this year. That's a .989 fielding percentage. The only change out there tonight is Andre Ethier gets a start out in left field.
Ethier had a big hit last night, a pinch hit, 2 RBI single that tied the game at 2, and then he scored the potential winning run, or what turned into the winning run. Frustrating night at the office for the Brew Crew last night. They had to shake that one off. You could just tell it got to a lot of the players, especially Hernan Perez, the third baseman who committed the error. But I liked all the comments. I liked to hear what Jimmy Nelson had to say last night.
Jimmy took responsibility. The 2-out error opened up the inning for the Dodgers, but the Dodgers proceeded to get 3 consecutive hits. Unfortunate that Jimmy Nelson, as well as he pitched all night long, got a loss last night.
Well, Don Mattingly saw his team get no hit into the 6th inning last night. The Dodgers are in first place in their division, the National League West. They have a 5.5 game lead, and they've won 3 in a row. Los Angeles comes in with a record of 50-38. They are the 2nd team in the National League to win 50 games. Cardinals, I beg your pardon, the 3rd team to win 50. The Cardinals, the Pirates, and now the Dodgers have entered the 50-win club prior to the All-Star break.
And Dodgers doing most of their damage here at Dodger Stadium, 32-16 at home. They're actually 4 games under 500 on the road.
Now the Giants moving into a game over 500, 5.5 back. San Francisco division champs last year, all the way into the World Series, winning the World Series for the 3rd time in 5 years. Always figures to come down to the Dodgers and the Giants. However, this season the Arizona Diamondbacks are playing well, and they put themselves in the picture as well with that new regime run by Tony La Russa and Dave Stewart as their general manager. 1 ball, 2 strikes on Lucroy. That's another one off.
And Beachy is going to give you the fastball pretty straight. Used to have pretty good sink in the mid-90s, but after Tommy John surgeries, each in 2012 and 2013, the velocity's gone, or a lot of it. He'll throw a slider, a curveball, and a changeup. A lot of curveballs to left-handed batters, but will predominantly go fastball, slider to right-handers.
Now Beachy is right now in the rotation spot of Carlos Frias, who's out with a back injury, and he is missing his 10th game here tonight. He's been on the disabled list as Frias since July 1st. That is an arm that Mattingly would like to get back. He has two of the great arms in the game fronting this rotation, and Zach Greinke likely the all-star starter for the National League, and of course the reigning MVP and multiple Cy Young Award winner now, Clayton Kershaw.
Yeah, that'll keep you out of long losing streaks, having those two guys going back to back.
But then it comes a bit of a crapshoot after that for Mattingly with the remaining spots in that rotation. Lucroy to second base. Kendrick on a hop to Rollins to first in time. Double play. And I believe Lucroy feels that he was safe at first. And you wonder if Craig Counsell is going to take a look at this. He's indicating to the home plate umpire, Joe West, just give us a minute here. Let's see if our clubhouse replays show that Lucroy was safe with Braun coming up. Umpires will typically give managers 30 seconds to make this decision.
Yeah, the defense has been stellar for the Dodgers, particularly up the middle. Bang, bang, could go either way. Not sure there's enough to overturn it. This will be a better look. Nope, I don't think Counsell's going to chance that.
So that will be a double play. Counsell says carry on, no challenge. 4-6-3 double play for the excellent middle infield defense of the Dodgers. They've really converted their ball club this year, and those two pieces, and Howie Kendrick and Jimmy Rollins, it changes a lot what a ball club is defensively.
Yeah, very solid up the middle with Jock Peterson out there. Covers a lot of ground in his big outfield.
Here's Ryan Braun with 2 outs, nobody on. Even though this is Braun's hometown, he grew up in Granada Hills. He gets booed louder here than anywhere else in the big leagues, which I'm sure hurts him a little bit. But Braun loves playing here. He loves Dodger Stadium. Grew up coming to games here with his dad Joe, who's in the crowd tonight once again. And a little tapper right in front of the plate. Grandal makes the play to win the inning, and Brandon Beachy's comeback to the big leagues is underway. He's got a scoreless inning in the books. Now Taylor Youngman on the Dodger Stadium now.
Dodger fans, 6 runs equals free.
Night for baseball here tonight. Game 2 of this 3-game series. I was slightly distracted. Gene Simmons is being introduced on the big screen here. I beg your pardon. His daughter sang the national anthem.
Right, yeah. He does attract a lot of attention, doesn't he?
Yes, he does. All right, so Don Mattingly's Potawatomi starting lineup. Jock Peterson an all-star, might be an all-star starter with Matt Holliday unable to go. Howie Kendrick, Justin Turner. Then you got a couple of all-stars in the middle with Gonzalez and Grandal, Yasiel Puig, and then Andre Ethier, Jimmy Rollins, and Brandon Beachy rounding out the Potawatomi Dodger batting order against Taylor Youngman, making his Dodger Stadium debut. Has been one of the best rookie pitchers since his arrival on June 9th.
And no doubt all three of his wins this year have come on the road. 2 or fewer runs he's allowed in 5 of 6 starts. He beat the Reds his last time out. Had a good curveball in that start against Cincinnati.
Jock Peterson hit a decisive RBI double last night. Peterson was 2 out of 4. Had an RBI. He broke up Nelson's no-hitter in the 6th inning with 1 out. And then in the 7th inning, he came up with Ethier on base. And he didn't look like he took the best swing, but it gives you an idea of how much power he has. He hit a towering fly ball that hit the left field fence down the line. Ethier was able to score. The Dodgers took the lead. That was the 3rd of the 3-run 7th inning, and that's how the game would end last night.
And inning should have been over. A 2-out error opened up the door, and Jock Peterson with the game-winning RBI. This guy takes a mighty hack every time. Even with 2 strikes, he struck out over 100 times already this year. He had a couple of strikeouts. Jimmy Nelson's had a very good slider in yesterday's ball game. Got him on a couple of sliders and a couple of base hits. Peterson with a base hit. And here's that double down the line to give the Dodgers a 3-2 victory last night.
Now, when it left the bat, it looked like a foul ball, but it certainly wasn't, as Peterson strikes out. He does that a lot. And he is gone here in the 1st inning.
105 strikeouts now for Jock Peterson, but he's got the home runs and RBIs to back it up. That fastball, a foul tip. Lucroy able to hold on.
So Youngman starts his night with a strikeout. Taylor's been such a great story. It's really hard to figure a guy who struggled so much in the minor leagues and especially AAA this year has come to the big leagues. And it feels like he's been around for 7 to 10 years. This guy has tremendous poise. Taylor Youngman. He pitches with a lot of confidence. He rarely gets rattled. He's a good defender on the mound. He makes plays, throws to the right bases, has a good move. The guy's got it all going right now. This will be a good test for him tonight against the Dodgers.
Yeah, he's only walked 10 batters, so he's throwing a lot of strikes, getting ahead in the count.
Brewers are extremely excited about what their young pitching, their prospect pitching has shown. Obviously, Willie Peralta's moved out of that prospect status. He was a 17-game winner last year. It's a little tapper. Youngman patiently waits on it, and Howie Kendrick is retired. And how about the Brewers defense behind Taylor Youngman tonight, partner?
Yeah, brought to you by Menards. You got the same group out there as last night. Ramirez got taken out of the game late. That's when the error happened at 3rd base in the 7th inning. And you can see Ramirez been around a while, over 2,000 starts at 3rd base. He's got the numbers to back it up. I mean, he's had a terrific career. This is his last.
So 2 men out for Youngman, and he'll face Justin Turner. None of the Dodgers have ever faced Youngman before. Youngman just got to the big leagues a month ago. June 9th was his first major league start, and that was a win against the Pirates. And you might remember that was supposed to be a one and done for Youngman. He was going to come up, make the start, probably go right back to Colorado Springs. Well, he pitched so well and has continued to pitch well that he remains. Start number 7 here tonight.
And 1 run in 7 innings of work in that start at Pittsburgh. He's only had 1 bad start. That was against the Rockies in Denver. 4 runs in 6 innings. Other than that, he's been outstanding.
Justin Turner with 2 away. And a swing and a miss. That was the pitch that really separated Youngman against the Cincinnati Reds his last time out on July 5th. That was last Sunday.
Anytime you see Jonathan Lucroy setting up right down the middle, it's probably going to be a changeup. Good pitch by Youngman to get Turner out in front.
1-2 pitch and a fastball right on the edge, called strike 3. Justin Turner is rung up, and that's a great start for Taylor Youngman.
No score. There's that famous Dodger logo here at Dodger Stadium. Brandon Beachy back out on the hill for inning number 2, and his manager Don Mattingly even admitted before the game he's not sure what to expect from him. But Craig Counsell certainly knows that Beachy in the past says his fastball plays up. He reached an elite level in his 4 years with Atlanta and has a lot of respect for guys who go through 2 Tommy Johns. A lot of perseverance, of course, to endure during that time as well. So the respect value is certainly there, and he wants to make sure his teammates certainly know that as well each time they go up to the plate. He said as far as hitters go, they're going to have to pay attention early on to see what Beachy's delivering.
And it is going to be a quick study. Thank you, Craig. As Beachy, the next version of him is Lind in foul territory. Nice play by Justin Turner. And Adam Lind is retired on a foul pop.
Yeah, back in the old days, it used to be people were amazed when a pitcher or even a position player came back after one Tommy John surgery. Well, that's kind of standard operating procedure these days. Now you have guys coming back from 2. Most recently, if you remember, Chris Capuano did that.
Very few have come back and been starting pitchers, because there is a shelf life for pitchers post Tommy John surgery, and certainly a shorter shelf life for pitchers coming back from a second Tommy John. Capuano, who keeps himself in great shape, has been able to maintain a good long career after his second Tommy John. Here's Gomez with 1 away. Carlos showing bunt, takes a ball low. All smiles always, Carlos Gomez. Not sure anybody loves playing the game more than Gomez. He just relishes every day in the big leagues. He knows his time as a player, the window is small. And for Gomez, he'll be around for a while, you figure, but you just never know. And he says, I got the rest of my life to do other things. I love being at the ballpark, love playing the game, and he's misunderstood in a lot of circles. But Gomez, he's a guy that all of his teammates love being around him. Brings a lot to the table every day.
Brings energy to the batting cage every day. It's kind of a disappointment when he's not in the lineup. Everybody should learn from that attitude that Carlos brings to the ballpark every single day.
He's a speed player, but Counsell needs him in a run-producing role, so he's been hitting either cleanup or 5th in the batting order recently as Beachy misses high. 28-year-old Brandon Beachy, Kokomo, Indiana native. Tell you one thing, just to follow up what Craig was talking about with Beachy, when the players, managers, when you talk about a guy coming through the injuries like he has, one of the reasons the respect level is so high is because the isolation that is involved in a comeback. When you go through the rehab, especially 2 of them, you know, for a guy to come all the way back and make it back to the major leagues, you have to have a lot of self-discipline. As Gomez draws the walk, didn't miss by much, but Carlos is aboard, and a base runner with 1 out here in the 2nd inning.
Yeah, and as much as the organization is helping you out a lot with the rehab and the surgeries and things like that, you're kind of on your own to motivate yourself. You really don't feel like you're part of the club. You're not around the guys all that much. He spent some time down in the minor leagues, and here he is. Down in the minors this year. Not too bad in 5 starts, most of them in AAA, a 247 earned run average. That's not too bad.
And most of that considered a minor league rehab scenario for him. Did not pitch all of last year, missed the entire season. Ramos Ramirez with Gomez at first. 1 out in the inning. For Brandon Beachy, this does feel like just a regular turn in the rotation. He last pitched on Monday. That was down in AAA Oklahoma City, where the Dodgers have their AAA club now. Gave up 3 earned runs, 5 total in 6 innings. And I think it was after that start that he'd look like a normal rotation pitcher, meaning he threw 93 pitches. He got into the he got through 6 innings, and he looked like a guy that is not delicate anymore, or you have to baby the arm anymore. He's going to be held to around a 100 pitch limit here tonight. That's with most guys, though.
Yeah, I mean, those are guys that have been in rotation all season long. Now, the Dodgers are one of the teams that only go with 7 relievers in their bullpen. I mean, a lot of teams are going with 8, so it's important for a guy that comes up from the minor leagues to be able to stretch it out a little bit, eat up some innings.
Ramirez takes a ball high. 3 balls and a strike now on Aramis. He's popped 10 homers this year. He's driven in 39. Ramirez got hot on the last road trip. Cooled down a little bit since. On base percentage is very low at 277. There goes Gomez, and the pitch is high, ball 4. So back-to-back walks for Brandon Beachy, and 2 men are on with 1 out for Gene Segura.
Shortstop number 9, Gene Segura.
Hey, a reminder, it is now time for you to tweet your strongest fan photo. Use hashtag WisDataStrongFan, and you just might see yourself in an upcoming broadcast. Brought to you by T-Mobile. Grandal with a quick visit out for Beachy. Rick Honeycutt out there as well, the pitching coach. And now Gene Segura with 2 on and 1 away. The Brewers trying to strike early here at Dodger Stadium. This was the part of the order that had some success last night. Segura and Jeanette combined for 5 hits. 5 of the 7 Brewer hits last night. Segura had 3 of those, was 3 out of 4. And Segura and Jeanette scored the 2 runs, which came in the 5th inning. Brewers stole a couple of runs themselves last night. There were 2 wild pitches in the 2-run 5th inning.
Yeah, Grandal had a difficult time keeping the baseball in front of him last night with the curveball pitcher out there. One of the runs scored on a wild pitch, went to the screen, a man at third base. The other run coming on a ground out.
That dude is fired up about that baseball. Making memories here at Dodger Stadium. It's a picture-perfect night for baseball tonight. Segura pops this one up. Long run for Puig. And he's got it in foul territory. Gomez forces a throw, which is what he wanted. Puig fires a strike to Rollins, and that gets him cheering here at Dodger Stadium.
Yeah, he's got a good arm. You don't run on Puig. Those two guys were messing around with each other between innings in yesterday's ball game, kind of goofing around a little bit. And there they go again. Carlos trying to get into his head a little bit.
Carlos threw a giant wad of gum at him last night. Lined him up and drilled him on his way out, but he did want to force him into a throw there. You never know. Sometimes Puig, with such a great arm, could launch one into the seats. Not that time. That was right to the cutoff man.
Puig doesn't seem too amused, does he?
So 2 men are out. Here is Scooter Gennett. 2 on, 2 out. Scooter with 2 hits last night. He's got his average up to 239. It's really been a nice story for the Brewers since coming back from AAA Colorado Springs. Struggled in that homestand against Atlanta, but then comes right back, and a couple of hits last night.
Yeah, bats kind of went silent in that 3-game series against the Braves, except for Gomez on Wednesday afternoon.
Gennett's hitting an even 300 since returning from AAA. Was hitting 154 when he was sent out. Spent about 3 weeks down there. Optioned to AAA the 3rd week of May, and then he came back the 2nd week of June.
Man, he's been a different player. I mean, he's going back to the stroke that he had last year, taking the ball to left field, not rolling over on pitches away.
1 ball, 1 strike. Gennett watches that one bounce in, and Joe West says he goes. That is the one thing about Gennett. He has swung at some awful pitches. Matter of fact, on the last homestand against Atlanta, he swung at a pitch that hit him directly in the hip. Blocked there by Grandal.
Yeah, that breaking ball that is down and in on Gennett is a tough one for him to lay off of. And Grandal, after having a very tough time blocking pitches last night, doing a much better job tonight.
Yeah, that was a good form there. So Gennett in a 1-2 count, and not sure who asked for a timeout. I believe it was Grandal. This guy's had a great year, Grandal. He's an all-star this season. Padres gave up on him, traded him. He was part of that Matt Kemp deal. And while he did have his struggles blocking pitches last night, Dodger pitchers are raving about the job he's done, the work he's done behind the plate. Gomez takes off. Gennett rolls one out to Howie Kendrick, and that will end the inning. So the Brewers, with a couple of walks, cannot bring him in. They strand 2. We head to the bottom of the 2nd. Gomez and Yasiel Puig. Now they're actually friends, believe it or not. I think there's a little bit of WWE involved in that particular argument in Spanish, but it is interesting to watch.
Gomez saying, you know, you throw that ball, you're going to throw it in the seats next time, and I'm going to score.
Nice. I didn't know you spoke Spanish in Red Lips.
He was pointing up to the seats.
Oh, the histrionics gave it away.
Right. I can't speak Spanish.
Maybe he will get him to throw one in the seats. And, of course, that would apply to Gomez as well.
Yeah, that's right.
Here's Adrian Gonzalez to start the inning, showing bunt with a shift on. I don't know if his heart was all the way into it, but that won't get the Brewers out of the shift with 3 infielders on the right side. It's been another banner year for Adrian Gonzalez. He's back on an all-star team again. Dodgers have 4 all-stars. They might have a 5th here soon. Been some injuries, and Clayton Kershaw could be added. That's a possibility. A lot of injuries for the all-stars here in the last couple of days. There's a sweeping curveball by Youngman and a swing and a miss by Gonzalez.
Been a good pitch for him. His first hit, 2 or 3 starts, he really didn't have much of a breaking ball, doing a lot of his damage with just the fastball because of that crossfire delivery. But all of a sudden, throwing a good curveball.
And a fastball looked like it was down the heart.
A little bit low, maybe.
A little low.
The thing that really bites you after that loss yesterday, the Dodgers 2 through 6 hitters only had 1 hit last night. You hate to lose a game when you control the middle of this batting order like Jimmy Nelson was able to do last night.
Well, the cleanup hitter, Adrian Gonzalez, was 0 for 4. The 3-hole hitter, Justin Turner, 0 for 4. Those are 2 guys that are having huge years.
Grandal hitless. Yasiel Puig hitless. And they still won.
Youngman in a 2-2 count on Gonzalez. Got him. Another curveball, and down he goes. Strikeout number 3 for Taylor Youngman. Tell you, with every out he gets in the big leagues and the confidence starts to rise, it's starting to see a guy who looks like he could be a stud in the major leagues.
He's off to a terrific start, and keep in mind that the teams that he's faced so far this year have never seen him before. He's going to have to be making adjustments, and I think Lucroy has a lot to do with his success, the way he's been able to keep him and force him to throw that curveball. And now all of a sudden it's become a good pitch, and he's getting a lot of confidence in it.
Now, Craig had a chance to catch up with Lucroy before the game about Youngman, and I love the comments that Lucroy had about this young pitcher just getting to the big leagues for the first time. And he wasn't, he's talking about his stuff a little bit, but he's talking about his competitiveness, the fact that he feels like he belongs, and he's able to handle the pressure well. Into center field, a little flare, that's going to fall, a base hit. And Yasmani Grandal with his first hit in the series. He got jammed. He sounded like he broke his bat, but he dumps one into center field. And the Dodgers have their first base runner.
And a lot of room in that outfield here at Dodger Stadium, and outfielders have to play deep. There's that fastball up. Ate him up inside, but no way Segura can get there, and drops right in between he and Gomez.
A shattered bat, but a base hit. And here is Yasiel Puig now. Well, we'll see how Youngman goes along the rest of the year. It's going to be a perfect year for him and the Brewers to allow him to continue in the rotation, see what he can do. He figures to be a big part of the rotation next year. Matter of fact, he came into spring training essentially as the number 6 starter, but he struggled so badly in spring training and then went down to AAA and struggled that I think the Brewers were uncertain. But now that they've called him up, he's got a little bit different gear in the big league environment. Very few have.
The one thing he's always been able to do, and I hate to say this at this point, but he's able to keep the ball in the ballpark. He only allowed 2 home runs down in the minor leagues this year with that big ERA. Not a sinker baller. He just keeps the ball down. He has a little bit of a cut to it.
And these hitters in the big leagues that haven't seen him before have had a difficult time making the adjustment on him.
And that crossfire action as well, very similar to Jared Weaver. It can be hard to pick up, even if you know him, even if you've seen him on videotape. And now there's plenty of tape on Youngman for these hitters to see and scout.
But just not the same as being in the batter's box. I mean, you can look at all the video you want, but until you step in the batter's box and see how his pitches come in to the strike zone, you just don't know. It's an advantage pitcher early on, at least normally.
Sun setting here out west. Which can make it tougher to hit the ball out of the ballpark. Guys like Puig and Gonzalez and Ryan Braun, that doesn't affect him much. Puig's been hurt a good part of the season. Hamstring problems. Just got back in June, and he takes one a little bit low. Puig was on the disabled list with a hamstring strain from late April to the first week of June. He got back June 6th. That's 38 games, so his numbers are down, but he did miss significant time. Only has 4 homers and 14 runs batted in. Full count. 1 man out. Grandal takes off into center field. Coming in, Gomez. He's got it. And now a chance at a double play. The throw is a good one, and Lynn picks it. And a double play to get Grandal, who was running on the pitch. Perfect throw by Carlos Gomez. And Youngman is out of the second inning.
Nice play by Carlos Gomez and Adam Lynn. It's our Columbia St. Mary's worth another look with Grandal running on the 3-2 pitch and the line drive to Gomez. Now check out Adam Lynn, the way he gets his eyes down to the level of the hop. He goes down to be able to see that hop coming in, and that's why he's able to pick that in-between hop. Not an easy play, but because he was able to get down and see it better, he's able to hold on to it. Well done by Adam Lynn.
Turns into an inning-ending double play as Grandal was caught off first. He was running on the pitch. It's interesting, you send a runner to try to stay out of a double play, but that's a risky run when you get a line drive out.
Right.
So here we go to the third inning, and Taylor Youngman, the Brewer pitcher, will lead off. He'll be followed by Parra, then Lucroy. Youngman fouls the first pitch away.
If you're the Dodgers and you've been scouting Taylor Youngman and seeing all the ground balls that he gets, it's not a bad play. I mean, Grandal's not a guy that's going to steal a base, but they're trying to stay out of the double play because of all the ground balls that opponents hit off of Youngman. That time, ball up in the air and the double play anyway.
0-2 to Youngman. Takes a ball down low. I tell you, Grandal, he must have worked on his blocking, Rock, because he's blocked 2 already. His form is much better.
Much better. I think that's what it's all about. I mean, squaring those shoulders. He really had a stiff chest yesterday, really. And when you puff out the chest like that, your body's automatically going to go up, and that's what happened to him last night.
Last night, there were 3 wild pitches in the game, and 2 in the same inning that led to both runs. And he's late getting down on that one, but you're right. One arm's behind, and he's straight up.
Yep. You got to, kind of got to wrap those shoulders around to square it up, and that's why Gomez, I think, was running last inning. Remember, he's running with 2 outs, trying to steal third. Why not get to third base? Because of the problems that Grandal had blocking pitches last night.
Would you be willing to put the equipment on and go on the field after the game and show us how to properly do that?
Do an instructional?
I'm sure they wouldn't mind here at Dodger Stadium.
I would, but I don't have the appropriate protective gear.
I see. Well, you got everything that you need, but one really important piece.
Right, I didn't bring it.
The art of catching. It can play a huge role. Sometimes the successes of it don't show up in the box score. You know, when you block a pitch with a runner at third, nothing shows up anywhere in a box score.
You know, and I really don't have to go down there and do that, because just show a highlight of Luke Croy.
Taylor Youngman with a base hit. His second hit in the big leagues. That comes with 2 strikes. And he has yet another knock as a major leaguer. We told you he's a guy that does everything well. He handles the bat well. He bunts well and goes up and gets this one.
Yeah, that pitch up and away, and he really made an effort to get on top of that pitch. Looked like he knew what he was doing with that. Taylor Youngman with his second base hit. He's got 3 sacrifices as well.
And he's all smiles. Talking to Adrian Gonzalez. All right, top of the order. Here is Gerardo Parra, who had a single his last time up. Led off the game with a hit. Drops a bunt down foul. Not a bad thought. You might do that with a guy like Youngman, who's a good athlete, runs well. Give him a chance to advance him, and then leave it up to Luke Croy and Braun. Parra also thinking about bunting for a hit there, so that wasn't a straight sacrifice. Now Turner's creeping in over at third base, and Parra pops this one up. Turner, this will be easy for him, and foul grounds, out number 1.
Hey fans, you can get your very own Chris Davis bobblehead when the Brewers take on the Pirates next Sunday. That's July 19th. All fans in attendance get a bobblehead of the Brewers outfielder sporting a special camouflage jersey courtesy of the Wisconsin National Guard. For tickets, go to brewers.com.
One away. Here is Jonathan Lucroy. Lucroy bounced into a double play his first time up. Hit a little soft liner on a hop to Howie Kendrick at second. And a 4-6-3 double play. Best defense in the big leagues right now in the National League. The Dodgers.
Yeah, only 35 errors they've committed this year.
Got terrific pitching. Top 5 ERA in the National League. I feel like the Dodgers, though, need another starter and maybe an arm or 2 in the bullpen to lead to Howell and Jansen.
I'm not sure what's going on here.
Grandal, he took a foul ball, and I think it bit him a little bit. He's hurting. Looking at his left hand. Now he's smiling. Athletic trainers coming out.
Everybody's laughing.
Well, let's see if we can get a look here.
That got him into the face mask. That thing will shake you up a little bit.
And I believe he wears braces. Yeah, that rattled him a little bit.
Yeah, those ones that gets you square on, they just hit and then drop. I mean, it's like getting punched in the head.
Well, it'll be a ball and a strike. Lucroy at the plate with Youngman at first.
It's always a learning curve when you're catching a guy for the first time. I would imagine that Grandal has not caught Beachy before, and not sure if went down into the bullpen to catch him in his last maybe 10 or 15 throws, but always a learning curve. But he's done a nice job blocking that curveball tonight.
Lucroy into center field. That is a mile high, but Peterson almost in his tracks for out number 2. Lucroy retired. He's 0 for 2. That'll bring up Ryan Braun. He and Adam Lind still at the top of our Powerball home run leaderboard. 15 apiece for those two. And Braun still in the top 10 in the league at home runs. Currently tied for 8th with 2 others, including his teammate Adam Lind. Ryan's also in the top 6 in the league in RBIs with 55. Two outs, runner at first for Braun. When Braun was in high school, they used to play the finals of the high school tournament here at Dodger Stadium. And as a high schooler, he hit one out. He had a home run at Dodger Stadium as a 17-year-old. There just aren't many that do that. There aren't many big leaguers that hit home runs at Dodger Stadium.
Yeah.
But Braun did it, and that was one of those, okay, this guy is 17 years old. He kind of looks like a big leaguer here. The ballpark's not too big for him. He hit it right in that spot, right there by the scoreboard.
He's got the same batting stance now that he did then. He's never changed that batting stance.
And that ball's hit deep, way back into left center field. Long run, Ethier. This ball's off the wall. Youngman around third. He is on his way in. We got fan interference here, I believe.
It's not a home run.
And they're going to call Youngman back. And this actually works against the Brewers here. So Youngman, who's racing around the bases, is going to be called back to third base.
Where'd that hit? I thought that hit off the wall. Did it hit top of the wall and go over?
Now Craig Counsell is asking the same question.
I'm not sure what it hit. Did it hit one of the outfield? Did it hit Ethier here? See, it goes off the wall, hits Ethier. Okay, yeah, that's a double. That's what it is.
Or hit Ethier, then bounced out.
Then bounced out. Yep, that's a double. That's a good call out there. Right off the top of the wall, it hits Ethier and goes over the fence. Yep, that's a double.
That is a huge break for the Dodgers.
The other thing is that, Craig Counsell, I think, might go out there and say, I think the run would have scored. Is that a normal ground rule double if it bounces off of a player? So Counsell is trying to campaign to see if they can get that run to score. See if it bounces, it hits the ground and goes over the fence. It's an automatic ground rule double, but it's different if it hits off a player and goes out. Question is, would he have scored?
So Youngman just shows up in the shot
So
there.
yeah, maybe not. If that ball goes off the wall, Ethier picks it up, and they're going to talk about it, though. Why not? I mean, it's a good chance to take if you're Craig Counsell. Why not do it?
Joe West is the crew chief. The man who called that play was DJ Rayburn, the third base umpire. He's on the far right.
So it's the umpire's discretion as to whether the run would have scored had the ball stayed in play.
And that's the argument that Craig Counsell is making here. And so Joe West is going to go to challenge this or look at a challenge. I'm not sure if counsel has asked for the challenge or Joe West, he wouldn't go on his own.
Well, you can't challenge it because the umpires are going to take a look at it to see where where Youngman was when that ball got kicked out of play.
So this is an umpire review to try to place the runner.
It's a discretionary call by the umpires. They're going to take a look at it at least.
Well, I'd be surprised if they allowed the run to score, but I think the run would have scored.
Well, the thing you really can't anticipate is if that ball stayed in play when it hit Ethier, hits off the wall again, where's the ball going to go then?
Right.
Is it going to go right back to Andre Ethier? Who knows? It might have kicked over towards center field.
And this is a total guess by the replay umpire in New York, because you got to kind of gauge. You almost have to watch the full scene play out from a high camera to see how, Youngman was at top speed and he runs well. And we showed you that image of him entering into the screen as that ball bounced out. And he was halfway between second and third with a full head of steam. Pretty good chance he's going to score there.
And he was running on contact with 2 outs.
This will be an interesting one. I have not seen this kind of challenge before.
This is a better look at it.
So the ball bounces out.
Goes out here, and Youngman is on his way to third base. Now, would he have scored? That's what the umpires in New York have to determine, but it's going to be difficult because you don't know where the ball would have ended up if it stayed in play.
Oh, here comes the call, and he's going to place him at third base. So it is going to be a ground rule double. That's an umpire challenge, not a Craig Counsell challenge. And the fact that Ethier played that so poorly actually worked to the Dodgers' benefit.
Right.
Long double. I think Braun, when he hit it, thought he hit it out.
It didn't go very well, did it? It didn't carry.
So the call is confirmed, is the official language from the replay center, which means the umpire in New York felt the crew here in LA got it exactly right. Well, now a little heat on Adam Lind. Beachy has to feel like he's got the golden ticket right now. But Lind can drive in a couple with a base hit. Outfield is deep, and Beachy misses high, ball 2. First start in the big league since 2013, August of 2013, when he was injured for the second time. A second Tommy John surgery.
They threw him a changeup. I think they're pitching around him. If you do that, why not just walk him and bring Carlos Gomez to the plate? And 3 pitches, not even close.
Well, Lind has been known to green light 3-0. And now the Dodger dugout whistles at Grandal and says, put him on. And they will do just that. So, bases loaded. One thing to note here, Taylor Youngman has been out there from the beginning of this inning. He's singled to start the inning. He's had a mad dash around the bases. He's been put back at third base. He's been on his feet, hadn't had a chance to sit down and rest. He's all smiles, but that could play into things as we continue on here.
And can't wait to cross home plate for a run. He's been out there the whole inning and hasn't scored yet.
Here's Carlos Gomez. Has 1 career grand slam, and it just came on the last road trip in Cincinnati.
And Carlos, one of the best in baseball with men on base. He shines in these spots.
Youngman, Braun, and Lind. Youngman with a single. Braun had a double. Lind an intentional walk. With runners in scoring position this year, Carlos is hitting .373. Only Braun has a higher batting average. Braun's hitting .386. 1 ball, 1 strike on Gomez. Ooh, big bender miss. That buckled his knees. Beachy wanted the call.
And a little high. And where Grandal caught it was a strike, but it kind of went down out of the strike zone. I guess just misses.
A lollipop curveball that was high.
Could have been called though.
Here's the 2-1. Gomez in the air, left center field. Ethier is back. Ethier at the wall, and it's off the top of the wall. Youngman is in, Braun right behind him. Here comes Lind, and he'll score. And a 3 RBI double for Carlos Gomez. And the Brewers lead 3-0 here in the third.
Well, Gomez really put the wood to that baseball because that one carried pretty well. The one that Braun hit did not. And so Carlos able to lay off that big curveball. Got a fastball from Beachy. I don't think Carlos thought he hit it well enough. He thought it was an out. It carried pretty well. Ethier got there, but just not able to make the catch.
Yeah, he was right there.
Yeah, he just missed it. And by the time Peterson picks it up, Gomez is able to clear the bases.
Well, it missed being a grand slam by inches. And it missed being an out and no runs in by inches. Had that sound, Gomez, that reaction tells you everything. He thought it was an out.
And I think had he run right from the batter's box, he would have been at third base.
And with everybody running on contact, they all score. 3 runs are in by this much. Wow. It's funny how the game works, right?
Yeah.
Ethier misplays a ball that ends up helping the Dodgers, and then I don't know if I want to call it a misplay. It would have been a great catch, but he certainly had it in his sights to make the play.
Well, we've seen Ethier make better catches than that. That's one he should have caught. He'll probably tell you that.
So Gomez is at second base. Here is Ramirez now. 3 runs in, 1 swing of the bat by Gomez. Well, he's starting to stack up some RBIs here lately. Gomez now with 39 runs batted in. Had a 5 RBI game last Friday week ago against Cincinnati.
Amazing how good he is with men on base.
Carlos now 23 for 60 this year. 23 for 60 with runners in scoring position. A strike to Ramirez, who walked his last time up.
That's why Craig Counsell loves to have Gomez down in the batting order. Put him in a spot with men on base as opposed to having him lead off. That's the advantage of having Gerardo Parra in your lineup.
And Ramirez strikes out to end the inning. But Carlos Gomez rescues the inning. 2 outs, bases loaded. Gomez launches one, thought it was an out. And it was close to being an out. Ends up off the top of the wall. 3 runs coming to score. And the Brewers are on top first tonight.
And Casino, they take a 3-0 lead into the bottom of the third inning. Carlos Gomez with that big bases clearing double. Talked to him the other day about hitting with runners in scoring position on base, and he kind of went through it like this. He says he analyzes the guys on base and he takes a deep breath, and he says he's looking for that one pitch. He can't approach it as one at bat, but that one pitch, and when he sees it, it's got to be the pitch to hit, obviously. And he said the other thing he really likes to use is scouting reports, which is interesting because there's not a whole lot of scouting reports on Brandon Beachy here tonight. Big at bat though for Carlos.
Well, Gomez drives in 3, and he's had a knack for the dramatic for sure. And it was interesting as Youngman goes back to work here at the bottom of the third, facing Andre Ethier to start the inning. But it's interesting, Craig pointed out, that he's settling on one pitch or looking for that one pitch. You could tell in his at-bat on Wednesday when he hit the 3-run homer to give the Brewers a lead, you could tell he was sitting on a changeup.
Yeah.
And he got one, and he didn't miss it.
Luis Avilan, the reliever, for the Atlanta Braves. I mean, he's a guy that throws a lot of change-ups, and I think every pitcher in baseball would like to try to avoid throwing fastballs to Carlos Gomez. I mean, he's a very good fastball hitter. He will chase breaking pitches out of the strike zone. So every now and again you're going to see a hitter do that, and it pays off.
Well, Ethier draws the walk, so Youngman, after a long outing on the base paths in the top of this inning, walks Andre Ethier to start the frame. Brewers get 3 in the top of this third inning. Youngman started it with a single. Here's Jimmy Rollins now, the switch hitting shortstop. First year Dodger, waived a no trade clause to come here. Had some great years with the Philadelphia Phillies. That was quite a combo of players they had in Philadelphia when they strung together 5 consecutive division titles. Jimmy Rollins and Chase Utley up the middle. And Carlos Ruiz behind the plate. Ryan Howard over at first base. Shane Victorino. Jason Worth. I mean, what a team they had.
Yeah.
Great pitching. Roy Halladay and Cole Hamels, and then Cliff Lee eventually. Brad Lidge was the closer of that Phillies club when they won the World Series. He was about as good as anybody during that 2-year stretch, and then they just were the class team of the big leagues.
And they only won 1 World Series.
Just
That's
the one,
thing, right?
2008.
I mean, they were good for a long, long time. 5 consecutive division titles.
There's a shot right to Lynn. Got a chance to turn it here. Segura's return is in time. And it goes 3-6-3 on a double play. Beautiful play started by Adam Lynn.
Well, Adam Lynn showing his Wes Parker imitation out there tonight.
Oh, nice.
Gold Glover for the Dodgers back in the day. That guy could pick it. There's a curveball, and Rollins hits it hard right to Adam Lynn. The advantage of being a left-handed throwing first baseman. Much easier throw. The 3-6-3 double play. Second double play turn by the Brewers.
All right, 2 outs. That's a big one. Now Beachy is up there, the pitcher, and Youngman can make this a quick inning.
Tough part of this play is catching it. That was a rocket off the bat of Jimmy Rollins, and the rest is pretty easy. Able to clear the runner and get back to first base.
He's holding the runner, so he's already in tight because he's just coming off the bag, and Rollins hits a bullet down there. If you've ever played the game and you played first base and the left-handed hitter comes up, especially those big burly lefties, that can give you a little fear. Swing and a miss. Beachy down on strikes. That's a nice inning for Taylor Youngman, a shutdown inning. top of the 4th inning. Time for our Carsoup.com trivia question. Who was the last MVP winner to not be selected for the next All-Star game? Clayton Kershaw is in that spot right now, but there is a lot of discussion that he might be added to the All-Star roster. They've had some injuries, and that's a good question. Clayton Kershaw winning the Cy Young and the MVP last season.
Dodgers have had 3 pitchers win the MVP award.
Yeah.
Don Newcomb, Sandy Koufax, and now Kershaw. They've got quite the display case, down in the lower level where the elevators are. All the Gold Gloves, all the Cy Young awards, the MVPs. It's quite impressive.
That first MVP as a Dodger since Kirk Gibson won the MVP in '88, the year they won the World Series. Segura lines one to left, a base hit. He's really swinging the bat well. Had 3 hits last night. Line drive to left field here in the 4th. First hit of the night. That'll bring up Jeanette with a man on. Interesting. So we've been talking a lot about that play by Ethier, just because we like to get things right, learn about what exactly was called. So this hits the wall, and we got the message back from Major League Baseball that they were reviewing whether it was a home run or not, and we were like, I don't think that's possible. But you know what they were reviewing is whether that ball hit the ground or not. Now, if that ball hits the wall, hits Ethier's shoe top, never hits the ground, and goes back over the fence, that's a home run.
Okay.
And that's what they were looking. Now, I think at that point, to me, it becomes just like fan interference, and then you have to place the runners once they decide whether it hits the ground. So I think
they were doing both.
I think they had to be.
Well, because Joe West, what did he do after he took the headsets off? He pointed at Taylor Youngman, which means he stays there.
Right.
If they were reviewing just the home run, he would have pointed at Braun saying it's a double.
And you stay there, right? Good point. Good point. So they obviously, as Segura takes off, Jeanette fouls it away. You have to determine whether the ball hit the ground first, and then you can determine whether.
Yeah, we didn't
go place the runners.
Yeah, we didn't even really think about that because we saw the replay. Clearly, it hit the ground.
Just assuming that it hit the ground. Well, we saw it on the replay, but obviously Craig Counsell made some kind of mention of it, or else why would that even come up? And that was a crew chief review, by the way, not Craig Counsell reviewing that play. So watch Joe West here, just taking you back. He takes the headset off, and he's saying you're there and you're there, and that's a great eye, because if he points to Ryan Braun, then that certainly gives us
no home run.
All of this would go away if they just put a microphone on and announce it.
Right, yeah. Everybody has to sit there and pontificate over it. That's my big word for the day.
It is. As Jeanette strikes out, and the first out of the inning, with Segura still at first base. I mean, I know miking up an umpire, and there is supposed to be communication between that secondary umpire and the PA announcer, and they did announce. I mean, they announced it exactly as it was reviewed, but there's more to that story than a home run review,
right? Which
I'm sure was part of their process in New York, but there's more than that. Youngman gets a bunt down. It's a good one. Sacrifice to get Segura to second base with 2 away.
So we are assuming, and that's always a bad thing to do, assuming that after they determined it wasn't a home run, that they looked at where Youngman was when the ball got kicked out of play. We're assuming, but nobody has said they were looking at that.
Right. And I know we're diving into the details here, but we're assuming because we don't know, because we have the ability to communicate with the Replay Challenge Center, and all they said was we're only allowed to share what they're sharing with us, which was we just checked to see if the ball hit the ground and whether it was a home run or not. I just can't imagine any scenario where that's all they did. As Parra tries to bunt for a hit with 2 outs.
Second time he's tried to drop down a bunt.
regardless of the mechanics of that call, Carlos Gomez made it a moot point.
Right.
Cleaned it all up with a 3 RBI double. I think he surprised himself how far he hit that ball.
Gives you an idea how much power that young man has in his bat.
0-1 to Parra, and fights that one off foul.
He was hitting him in the far reaches out there in left field in batting practice today. 3/4 of the way up the pavilion out there.
Well, it is Juan Uribe bobblehead night. They finally found him. He's
Yeah.
here as a fan. Uribe hit a home run today for the Braves, but they'd already made up the bobblehead, so it's Juan Uribe bobblehead night tonight. A bunch of people walking around with Juan Uribe bobbleheads.
Gone but not forgotten.
His brief time here in Los Angeles. The breaking ball misses by Beachy. Beachy, a former Brave. Pitch count at 77. Brewers got 3 last inning with 2 outs, and now Parra trying to add to it with 2 outs. And a ground ball gloved by Adrian Gonzalez, the Gold Glover, and the inning is over. Smooth first baseman is Gonzalez.
On Fox Sports Wisconsin is brought to you by Marshfield Clinic. Don't just live, shine. By Piggly Wiggly, the official supermarket of Fox Sports Wisconsin. And by Hupy and Abraham, 800-800-5678. Hupy and Abraham, tell them you mean business.
There they are, the Juan Uribe bobbleheads from his time as a Dodger. He's gone now. He's in Atlanta. They cleared the way for Justin Turner to be the everyday third baseman here, but they remember him well. Juan Uribe. And a big crowd on a Saturday night tonight here at Dodger Stadium. Top of the order, Youngman will face Jock Peterson. First time through the order was outstanding for Youngman. He did give up a hit and a walk, but eliminated both of those base runners with double plays. So he faced the minimum first time through. Dodgers go 1 for 7 with a walk. First time through the batting order. 1 for 8 with a walk, I beg your pardon. Peterson struck out in the first. Youngman with 4 Ks. First time through the order. Interesting that Youngman overall averaging about 5% of his pitches as changeups, but he's had the same number of changeups as curveballs the last time out, and he's thrown a few more changeups again tonight. About 15% of his pitches changeup than curveball. So he's starting to grow a little more confident in that changeup. And he misses, ball 4. That is back-to-back innings with a leadoff walk. And a man on for Howie Kendrick. Hey, a reminder, Fox Sports Wisconsin is giving away great prizes during every Brewers broadcast in July. Prizes include Brewers merchandise, Miller Park tours, autographed merchandise, and more. Here's tonight's Watch 'em and Win 'em sweepstakes image. Log on to foxsportswisconsin.com. Click on the Watch 'em and Win 'em banner on the homepage to enter. Tune in again tomorrow if you're not a winner tonight. Howie Kendrick with a man on to start the 4th. Kendrick's been a nice ad for the Dodgers as well. Coming across from the Angels. Spent 9 years with the Angels.
And good bat, near 300 batting average, and really solid defensively up the middle. Veteran presence, he and Jimmy Rollins in the middle of that defense.
Kendrick's a good hitter for average. 293 career batting average. He's hitting 293 this year, or he was coming into play tonight. That old saying, the media guy doesn't lie.
Right.
He's almost right on his career numbers in just about every category. Batting average, on base percentage, slugging percentage.
These are good numbers.
Played on a number of playoff teams with the Angels. 4 playoff years with the Angels, including last year, their brief stay in the postseason. They got swept by the Royals. Dodgers like the fact that he has a little postseason pedigree. 1 ball, 1 strike. And back up the middle, a base hit. Right over the glove of Youngman. If he gloves it, he's got a chance to turn 2, but Kendrick hit it hard. And it's into center field, and the Dodgers have something cooking here in the 4th.
You can't be messing around walking leadoff base runners with a 3-0 lead. Then in the back-to-back innings, Rollins grounded into that double play in the 3rd. And Kendrick bouncing that back right through the middle into center field. And now the meat of the order coming up with a couple of men on and nobody out.
And this is a spot where Youngman could use another double play. He's gotten 2 tonight. One of them a 3-6-3 double play. The other was on a line drive out to center with the runner on the move, and Gomez threw behind the runner to end the inning. Turner was a strikeout victim in the 1st. Youngman struck him out looking. Starts him with a curveball that misses. Didn't miss by much. Turner's back home of sorts here with the Dodgers. He's from Lakewood, California, and he played his college ball at Cal State Fullerton. Came to the Dodgers from the Mets beginning last season. And there's a strike.
And that cutter, that natural cut that Taylor Youngman has on that fastball away. That's a good ground ball pitch for him. That last pitch right in the corner.
Two on, nobody out. Brewers lead 3-0. Yeah, big swing by Turner. Right through it. 1-2 the count.
Yeah, fastball away, fastball in. Now breaking ball in the dirt.
Dodgers were bouncing Turner around a little bit, trying to keep his bat in the lineup until they traded Uribe. Now he's the everyday third baseman. Played a little first and short one game, second base. And they got a utility man in Alberto Callaspo in the deal. A couple of pitchers. More than anything else, it opens the door for Turner and a vote of confidence that he's their guy. Turner on the ground, got a chance to turn it. Segura to Jeanette, throw to first in time. A double play. Youngman goes with the curveball there and gets Turner to ground it right to Segura. Third double play of the game for the Brewers in as many innings.
Yep, had him out in front. Really wasn't a good curveball. It was up but away, and Turner tried to pull it. That's about as easy a double play as you'll get. 6-4-3, not even close at first. Good pitch by Youngman.
Got a chance to get out of this inning. He's 6'6" Taylor Youngman, standing tall as a big leaguer here this year. Runner at third, 2 away for Adrian Gonzalez, who was a strikeout victim in the second inning. Ground ball right to Lind. He'll take it himself, and Youngman is out of the inning. 3 double plays for the Brewers tonight. Still 3-0 Milwaukee.
Gene Simmons takes this one in tonight. Always see a lot of celebrities here at the ballpark. Hey, there's another Free Shirt Friday coming up at Miller Park. That's next Friday, July 17th. The Brewers take on the Pirates, and all fans in attendance get a free Roll Out the Barrel t-shirt, courtesy of American Family Insurance. Go to Brewers.com for tickets.
Gene Simmons signing a baseball there. His daughter sang the anthem here tonight. There is Chen Wei Sao. He was the winning pitcher last night. Talked about Beachy's comeback story. Sao has a longer comeback story, at least to the big leagues. He went from 2007 season to last night between outings in the major leagues. And he went an inning last night, and then the Dodgers took the lead in the bottom of that 7th inning, and he got the win. So he's back out there. Chen Wei Sao
had a pretty good fastball in last night's ball game. Throwing pretty hard, give up a couple of hits. Able to hit the Segura and Jeanette, but able to get out of it.
He is 34 years of age. He's out of Taiwan. Has an interesting background, and the reason he was out of baseball, he was actually investigated for throwing games in Taiwan, a gambling scheme. He was not indicted in that investigation, so the Dodgers are satisfied that he was cleared and wasn't involved, but his name was in the mix, and just don't think about that in any kind of modern game. As Lucroy grounds one to short, Rollins will backhand it, and Lucroy is out. I mean, you think about the Black Sox of 1919, right?
Yeah.
The Chicago White Sox scandal. You just never even conceive of that in baseball in this day and age. We've heard it point shaving in basketball.
The Pete Rose situation, betting on baseball. I mean, that's the one thing that you see in every clubhouse in Major League Baseball. The golden rule: do not bet on games, and don't be involved in anything that might be construed as such. And
Well, it almost killed the game. That's why.
well, you're gone. You'll never be heard from again.
Still posted in every clubhouse.
Yep. The integrity of the game. Can't mess with it.
Ryan Braun with one away. Brandon Beachy's return to the major leagues. It's got to be a nice accomplishment for him, even though the result's not where he wanted. And probably should have fared better in that inning with a little bit better outfield play.
But the Brewers will take it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Last 4 innings, so get into that bullpen early tonight. And 93 with a fastball in the hands of Brawny there. Got some jump on that fastball after all these years.
Sal just called up. He was up in the bullpen on Wednesday night, didn't get into the game, and finally did get in last night's game. Dodgers are starving for relievers right now. They're trying to find the right pieces to help them in their pennant race.
Starters too. Brandon Beachy was the 12th different starting pitcher that they've used this year. They're in first place.
Yeah, it's amazing.
That is something.
But the top 2 change things, though. So yes, they're using a lot of guys, but nobody has Greinke and Kershaw. Nobody has 2 pitchers of that caliber. So just before you start to feel sorry for the Dodgers.
Oh no.
As Braun strikes out. Wow, 95 with the fastball, and Braun is out. 2 up, 2 down. Well, you can see Miller Park and Lambeau Field like you've never seen them before. Sign up for Go Over the Edge and raise money for Special Olympics Wisconsin. Registration is now open. Visit foxsportswisconsin.com/events for details. Saw Maria Shriver here yesterday.
Right.
Her mother was instrumental in beginning Special Olympics.
Right.
Eunice Shriver was her name, and they had a group of Special Olympians here yesterday to help throw out the first pitch. Lind hits it hard down the left field line. Ethier is back and is off the top of the wall. The 3rd ball off the wall tonight for the Brewers, and Lind rolls in with a double.
And bad luck. If that ball's over toward the line just a little bit, it might be a home run. The ball was slicing away from Ethier as he got out there. And Adam Lind showing really good power to the opposite field once again. And puts a charge into this one. A fastball away. It had a little bit of a tail to it. It just waits back nicely. Watch where this ball lands. If If it's over just a little bit, it's probably a home run. It stays in the ballpark. This time Ethier doesn't kick it out of play.
You might see 1 or 2 a night. To see 3 by the same team before the 5th inning is something unusual. Long fly balls off the fences. So here's Gomez again with a runner at second and 2 outs. He's in our Jimmy John's delivery of the game, and I mean it was 2 outs, bases loaded. Watch his reaction.
Oh, last out, missed it. Nope, I didn't.
Ethier couldn't make the play. Hits about 6 inches from the top of the fence to go out. 3 RBI double for Gomez.
And Brewers have 3 home runs at Miller Park tonight.
Yeah, no question. And just about every other ballpark
right
in the big leagues.
Not so much the dimensions here at the ballpark. It's the way the ball travels. They say it's been traveling a little bit better. We haven't seen that in this series.
Yeah, they had a very unusual April and early May.
Dodgers have hit 111 home runs, 3rd most in the big leagues.
Brewers come in tonight with 81 home runs. Gomez has Lind at second and a swing and a miss. Down he goes. Carlos strikes out to end the inning. Sal with 2 Ks. To the bottom of the 5th we go. 3-0 Milwaukee.
And Casino, they have a 3-0 lead going into the bottom of the 5th, and you can join Brewers pitcher Matt Garza and his teammates for the Brewers Bowl-a-thon on Sunday, July 19th. Enjoy a VIP reception, silent auction, and of course bowling with Brewers players while raising money for the Sojourner Family Peace Center, a safe haven for abused women and children. For more information, visit Brewers.com, Beyond the Diamond, or call 414-902-4532. Curt Counsell was talking before the game how impressed he has been with Taylor Youngman so far, but he said one thing he's keeping his eye on a little bit anyway is his strike throwing. He said occasionally there would be a hiccup or two in the minors as far as that went, but so far he's done a great job, earned what he's gotten, but the ability to mix both those off-speed pitches while always keeping his teams in the game has been huge so far. This is his 7th start, doing it again tonight.
He's got something about him, doesn't he? Scouts call him show ponies. That's a good word. As Grandal grounds out right back to Youngman. So first pitch strikes are important for Youngman. And got off to a pretty slow start. First 12 batters he faced, he had just 4 first pitch strikes. But his last 2 hitters, and they were key. That was Adrian Gonzalez with a runner at third last inning, and now Grandal to start the 5th inning. He's gotten ahead with first pitch strikes, so he's 6 out of 14 in that category. He has been aided by 3 double plays tonight. Yasiel Puig with 1 away, swings at the first pitch, drives it into right center, but right to Gomez. And I'm sure Carlos is going to have a little extra for Yasiel on that one.
Yeah, 2 times Puig has hit the ball hard right at Gomez. Carlos taking a little extra pleasure in flagging that one down.
Waiting for him to turn around, which he did not.
Ball slicing away from Carlos, but with his speed, that's an easy catch.
Those two have been yucking it up with each other the last 2 nights. 2 outs. Here's Ethier, who walked his first time up. Boy, Youngman is throwing darts with that fastball. Gets that one on the inside corner, and now 4 consecutive first pitch strikes. There's Carlos. Look at,
a little bit easier for Carlos to do it with a 3-0 lead. Not so easy for Yasiel Puig to be messing around down in the baseball game.
Foul ball.
That's kind of frowned upon when you're losing. Goofing around too much.
In some circles, it would be frowned upon with a last place team as well. You kind of let Gomez do his thing. You got to let him be his personality.
To a certain extent. I mean, the guys still have to have a good time, but do it while you're ahead. Don't make too much of it. Don't let it get out of hand. Carlos is about on the gray area right now.
There's a swing and a miss, and Youngman strikes out Ethier. And a quick 1-2-3 inning for Taylor Youngman with a strikeout. You're in the gray zone. It is the All-Star game. The Midsummer Classic will be in Cincinnati. And the home field advantage for the World Series is on the line. July 14th, 6 p.m. Central on Fox. Streaming live on Fox Sports Go. Had a few additions to the All-Star teams with injuries and whatnot. As Ramos Ramirez leads off, fouls it away to get the inning started. Now, Brian Dozier is now an All-Star. Thank goodness.
Yeah, no
this
kidding.
guy deserves to be on the All-Star team, and Dozier was added to the All-Star team. Had 2 walk-offs this week. He was in that final vote that was won by Mike Moustakas, but Jose Bautista of the Blue Jays is injured, and Dozier gets that spot. Brett Gardner's also been added. And over in the National League, Troy Tulowitzki was added to the All-Star team today. Ramirez drives one into right center field. Peterson can't get it. To the wall it goes. Ramirez on his way to second. The throw from Puig. And out at second. Oh my goodness. What a throw by Yasiel Puig from the wall.
Man, he just spun around, didn't even hardly take much of a step, and threw a strike to second base. That's an incredible throw by Puig. My goodness. That's a double in just about every other situation, but check out this throw all the way in the air and getting Gomez, or I should say Ramirez, at second base. Wow. Well, you hear about this guy's throwing arm. Well, you just saw it.
That is amazing. That is an amazing throw from the wall, on the fly, on the money. Wow. And barely even looked at second base. You know, he fielded it and threw it.
Instinctively knew where second base was. Always knows where he is on the field. And look at this throw. It's pretty close.
It looked like his foot touched down before the base. Ground ball up the middle. Rollins is there on a slow roller. And close, but out. Segura.
I tell you, Jimmy Rollins, he barely gets a lot of these base runners. Segura was able to beat out a couple of infield ground balls to Rollins in yesterday's ball game. Not blessed with a very good throwing arm these days. Range is somewhat limited, but he makes the plays when he can get to them. Just barely able to get Segura that time.
2 outs now. Here is Jeanette. And a shot right to Gonzalez. 3 batter inning, I should say. That great throw by Puig. That's a 6-pitch inning for Sal. Still 3-0 Brewers.
Wedge for a Brewers fan. 3-0 Brewers as we head to the bottom of the 6th inning, and the Brewers post-game concert series continues on Saturday, August 15th, as the Goo Goo Dolls come to Miller Park to perform a free show following the Brewers game against the Phillies. Reserve your spot today at brewers.com/concerts. The Goo Goo Dolls on August 15th.
Yeah, the last of the concert series. They've been a big hit this year, thanks to Joe Nichols and OAR, and now the Goo Goo Dolls. Taylor Youngman back to work. He's had a good one, working on a 2-hit shutout through the first 5 innings. Jimmy Rollins will lead off. Bounced into a double play his last time up. He had a bullet right to Adam Lind at first. Turned it into a 3-6-3 double play. Hit right on the barrel, but that'll stay in for Gomez for the first out of the inning. You know, Rock, we were looking at that throw, and Puig guns down Aramis Ramirez. I had to go over there and ask Vince Scully, the legend, the man who ruined it for the rest of us. But I had to ask him, I said, you see a throw like that, what comes to mind? I mean, he goes, you know, that it's among the best I've ever seen, that throw.
Yep.
And then he said, you know, Carl Furillo used to throw the ball like that.
Yeah, how about that, huh? Don't you love that?
Carl Furillo's nickname was the Reading Rifle, and when Vince Scully tells a Carl Furillo story, it's because he saw Carl Furillo.
He was right there.
Throw the ball like that. One of the great Brooklyn Dodgers. Actually came to Los Angeles when they moved here in 1958. But this is the throw, and Vince Scully says Puig takes great pride in his throwing and throws it as well as anybody he has ever seen, and Vince Scully has seen everybody.
Yeah.
And he did mention Raul Mondesi as well.
Yeah. He wasn't a bad right fielder here either. Is there a better human being on the face of the earth than Vince Scully?
He is a joy, and he is a legend, and he is an institution.
88 years old, still doing games by himself.
It was great. Yesterday he comes in the booth. So most legends don't come into other booths. You go to them.
Right.
But he comes in, he wants to find out about the pitcher, the relievers. He wants to ask you about your team, and he's just a consummate professional still at this age and wants to know everything that we can tell him about the Brewers, and he thirsts for knowledge and so gracious in everything he does. We love him. A little cue shot. Guerrero, the pinch hitter, and a nice play out there by Segura. I'm not sure if it hit Youngman or if it hit the top of the mound. Either way, it is the second out. The pinch hitter Alex Guerrero is out. And right off the end of the bat. No, I don't think he touched it. Just had a little English on it. Had a little English on it to affect the spin a little bit. So 2 men are out. Jock Peterson now with 2 away.
How many presidential administrations do you think Vince Scully's been through?
That's a good trivia question.
That should be tomorrow's. I'm going to hold off on it.
That is a good one. That's going to be tomorrow's Carsoup.com trivia, as Youngman with another quick inning. This time 8 pitches. Coming off a 6-pitch inning, Vince Scully calls them all.
Fox Sports Wisconsin is brought to you by Miller Lite, the original light Pilsner. Cheers, it's Miller time. And by the Wisconsin Lottery, reminding you to please play responsibly.
Downtown Los Angeles on a Saturday night. It's all a buzz tonight. And just a few miles from the Staples Center, we are at Dodger Stadium. And the Brewers are up 3-0. All 3 runs coming in with one swing of Carlos Gomez's bat. That was in the 3rd inning. It came with 2 outs. And now the Dodgers will bring on their 3rd pitcher. Adam Liberatore is in after Sal goes 2 scoreless. Taylor Youngman has been the story tonight. He's working on a 2-hit shutout through 6.
Yeah, hard thrower coming out of that Dodgers bullpen. One of 2 left-handers. We saw J.P. Howland last night's ball game. Get it up there in the 96 range.
Youngman's also in our At the Plate presented by Wendy's. Had a base hit. Started that 3-run rally in the 3rd inning. God, what a story this guy has been. I mean, there was a point where the Brewers weren't sure Youngman was going to make it to the big leagues as a starter. Kind of thinking about him maybe as a reliever, or the numbers just weren't stacking up. Stuff didn't look like it would play, at least as a starting pitcher in the big leagues, but that has all changed abruptly. And he's got just enough deception and movement. You're right, though. You start to see teams for the 2nd time, 3rd time, guys start to get a book on him. It will be interesting to see, but boy, he's on his game right now. There's a nice play by Liberatore. And Youngman is the first out of the inning.
And there's nothing to think that he can't make those adjustments and continue to have success. He's a guy that throws a lot of strikes. He's not afraid to pitch to contact. And I think that delivery is going to always be something that he's going to be able to use it to his advantage, because not many guys throw like he does.
Now to bring up Gerardo Parra with 1 away. He is 1 for 3 tonight. Dodgers got a start out of Brandon Beachy tonight. His return to the big leagues, first time in nearly 2 years. A year and 11 months between starts for Brandon Beachy. He went 4 innings, 5 hits, 3 runs. All of those were earned runs, and all of those on that Carlos Gomez double with 2 outs in the 3rd inning.
Reminds you a lot of last night's ball game, doesn't it? And Brewers having a 2-0 lead last night.
Parra sends that one deep into right center field, way back and gone. A home run. Gerardo Parra.
Never mind. 4-0.
Well, that was a bomb by Parra. His 9th of the season.
Lefty versus lefty, and Parra put a charge into that one, didn't he?
Wow. Catcher number 20, Jonathan Lucroy.
His career year continues. Gerardo Parra goes boom here with 1 out in the 7th.
And the 2nd home run that he's hit against a left-handed pitcher this year. And that one's a no-doubter out there in the right field.
Powerball number 9. For Parra, who's been on a bit of a home run binge here lately. Now Lucroy with 1 out, takes a strike. Parra hit a home run on the homestand, just a 3-game homestand. Fan throws the ball back. That's a mistake. Parra has 3 leadoff home runs this season. That one comes with 1 out in the 7th inning, leading off a game. He has 3 this year. And Council loves that power threat at the top of the batting order.
2 more hits for Gerardo Parra tonight. Well, 4 of the 8 hits for the Brewers tonight have been for extra bases, a home run and 3 doubles.
Lucroy shoots it foul, rattles the cameras down there. All smiles, Parra. He's having one of those years, getting to play every day. And always been kind of pegged as a platoon player, not able to hit lefties. And the Brewers have put him out there, said you're going to face righties and lefties. He has performed against both. I think most left-handed hitters, when there is a right-handed option available, like in Parra's case, Chris Davis, they always feel like they have about 10 days to prove they can hit lefties. And if you don't hit lefties in those 10 days, a week to 10 days, then you're going to be back in a platoon. And that's the way it's always been for Parra. And it probably was that way to start the year. But it's all changed now because Davis went out with the injury. Parra started to play every day and faced lefties, had to face lefties, and has had success against left-handers. And he's probably swinging the bat so well he has hit his way out of Milwaukee. Because I would imagine most contending teams want a player like Parra on their club as they go into the postseason. But it will come at a bit of a price now. Since July 3rd, he's hit 4 home runs in his last 30 at-bats. So he's got a home run every 7.5 at-bats since the 3rd of July, last Friday. So a week and a day of big home run production. Those are the two with the big hits, Gomez and Parra. Lucroy, left center. That's down for a base hit. Peterson able to cut it off. Lucroy on his way to second. He's in there with a sliding double.
Guys aren't just jogging into second base right now, are they? You see Lucroy busted it around first base. Peterson with a pretty good arm. Another double for the Brewers. That's now 5 extra base hits for the Brewers. 5 of the 9 hits. Able to get one into the gap. And Lucroy's first hit tonight.
So a double for Lucroy following the Parra homer. And here is Ryan Braun, who doubled in the 3rd. He missed a home run by just a foot or so. Don Mattingly is going to intentionally walk Braun here with 1 away to face the left-hander Lynn.
And playing in percentages, trying to set up the double play with 1 out. Lynn's been swinging the bat well.
Mattingly's got his Dodgers in first place. West is a down division this year. Giants are behind him 5.5. That doesn't mean much. You know, San Francisco didn't have much going on about this time last year either. They ended up winning the World Series. Just got to make it.
Not the best team always. It's the hottest team. Not to say that the Giants weren't the best team, but it's good to go into the postseason with some momentum.
So Lind is coming up. Rick Honeycutt's on his way out. Talk it through with his left-hander, Libator. Brewers have a run in on a Parra home run. It was launched out of here. 4-0 Milwaukee on 9 hits. Taylor Youngman has a 2-hit shutout going. That is Parra's first home run against a left-hander, by the way, since May 9th.
Yeah.
He homered against Travis Wood at Miller Park on May 9th. His first homer since that time.
Second homer against a left-hander. Rick Honeycutt just stalling for time because after Lynn bats here, they're going to make a pitching change. He just got a right-hander up.
So here is Lynn. First and second with one out. Lucroy doubled. Braun intentionally walked. Gets it in that split finger grip. And fires a fastball. Low. 2-0 to Lynn. Lynn trying to drive a nail into this one. We play in the 7th, and that one's in there for a strike. Fastball.
Playing Lynn about as straight away as you're going to see any defense play any hitter. It's because he sprays the ball around the entire diamond. Not just sprays it, I mean, he drives it in that direction. You see, if anything, it's Rollins shading up the middle just a little bit.
Lynn drove one off the wall his last time up in left field. That one got in on his hands, popped him up. A lot of room over there. And that's going to be Turner to make the catch for the second out. And with 2 on and 2 out, might see a pitching change here. Don Mattingly is walking up the steps. He'll give his right-hander as much time as he needs.
Hey, tonight's time of the game winner is the Evergreen Country Club in Elkhorn. If they call the Brewers in the next 24 hours, they get 40 Miller Lite beer pen tickets to a Brewers home game. This offer courtesy of the Tavern League of Wisconsin and Miller Lite.
Perfect way to send us to a commercial with a pitching change. Dodgers make the move. Liberatore is out. We'll set up the new hurler when we come back. The 7th finally got one to clear the wall. There have been a number of long fly balls that have hit the wall. As we take a look at the numbers of Pedro Baez, the next Dodger reliever.
Yeah, hard thrower Baez. If he can bring it up there in the upper 90s, 98 miles an hour. He's got a slider to go with it. Very good numbers for Baez. 22nd appearance with a 3.00 ERA. Been very good against right-handed hitters. Only a .218 opponent batting average.
Well, tonight, Rock, the Brewers doing something you don't see very often in this many numbers. Braun almost goes deep. And then Gomez, he thought it was an out. That hits the wall. The second ball off the wall, that scored 3 runs. And then how about Adam Lind? He thought he'd hit one out. And it hits the fence. That was all changed by Gerardo Parra. Brewers could easily have 4 home runs tonight. They've had enough distance for 4, but 3 of them hit the wall, come back in. 4 runs are in. Milwaukee with 9 hits. Now it's first and second for Gomez. And that ball he hit off the wall was the big hit of the night. Probably one that should have been played by Ethier. Especially as deep as Ethier plays. They put him back there so he doesn't have to go so far to get to the wall.
Kind of a rough night out there, hasn't he? Normally a right fielder, but since Puig has been around, he's been moved to left.
Two on, 2 out. See if Gomez can pick up another ribby here with 2 away. That double that drove in 3 in the third came with 2 outs. Taylor Youngman has a 2-hit shutout going. Those are your stars tonight. Parra, Youngman, Gomez. Carlos sitting on 39 runs batted in for the season. Chased a high fastball.
It's got some life on it too at 96 miles an hour. It's been all fastball for Carlos.
Last night Gomez was 1 for 4. Big spot for him here with 2 outs. No balls, 2 strikes. 1 and 2. Brewers lost a heartbreaker last night. Comeback win for the Dodgers, scoring 3 in the 7th. Nelson had a gem going, as does Youngman here tonight. But the Brewers, unlike last night, have been able to add on here tonight. Scoring in the 7th inning. Those runs are so important late in games.
Add-on runs. It just has a tendency to deflate the opposition when you're able to add on. Still a long way to go. We're only in the 7th.
2 balls, 2 strikes on Carlos. He got jammed. Fly ball, shallow center field. Peterson can't get it. The ball bounces free. Lucroy's in. Here comes Braun. The throw. Braun is safe. And Gomez will reach and drive in 2 more on a flare to center field at 6-0.
We're talking about dropping one right in between, the fielders. That's amazing. I mean, Carlos got under that one. You would figure that one of the Dodgers would have been able to run under it, but Peterson plays very deep out there in center field, not able to get there. And Carlos Gomez with 2 more RBIs. He got in on his hands. That's a big fastball from Baez, and Jock Peterson, the closest, not able to get there, not even close. And the Brewers now with a 6-0 lead.
And Gomez with 5 runs batted in, his second 5 RBI game in the last 8 days, as Braun goes flying around the bases to score the run. 2 doubles tonight for Gomez. 10 hits now for Milwaukee, and here is Aramis Ramirez, who's going to be on all the highlight reels tonight for the wrong reason. Getting thrown out at second by Puig. Puig had a throw from the wall earlier, if you're just joining us. Threw out Ramirez, trying to stretch it into a double.
Carlos Gomez with another big night at the plate with the RBIs.
And Ramirez into center field. This will end the inning, but it is going to be another inning to remember for Carlos Gomez and Gerardo Parra. Parra with 1 out. launches his 9th home run of the season, a no-doubter into the bleachers at right. And then Gomez, with 2 outs, drives in 2 more with a little flair. Ties a career high with 5 RBIs. 6-0 Brewers. Never shy of a camera. Gene Simmons with his family here, his wife and his daughter. And gonna rock and roll all night, it looks like. The Simmons family. 7th inning stretch between innings. So it is time for you to tweet us your strongest fan photo. That's going to be a strong fan photo with Gene Simmons. It's all brought to you by T-Mobile. Use the hashtag WistDataStrongFan. Howie Kendrick will start it for Los Angeles. Taylor Youngman working on a 2-hit shutout as he enters the 7th inning. He'll have Kendrick, Turner, and Gonzalez. This will be an interesting inning for Youngman. He's gone along very well tonight. Never faced more than 4 batters in an inning. He's had 3 double plays behind him. And at this point, his faced just 1 over the minimum.
Yeah. Good combination of fastballs and curveballs once again, kind of reminiscent of his game against the Reds. Seems like he's in complete control. The Brewers have been able to stake him to some runs.
He's got Kendrick in a 2-2 count.
Youngman beat the Reds 6-1, so 6 runs has been pretty good for Youngman. He's been on the mound both times that the Brewers have been able to put up runs for him.
Here's a 2-2 and a ground ball. Jeanette is over, backhands, throws off balance, and a tag out at first. He got him. Lind had to come off the bag, but the catch and tag to get Kendrick for the first out.
I'll tell you, Adam Lind's playing a very good first base tonight. Made some tough plays. And able to make sure he catches the baseball first. If you have to come off the bag, so be it. But able to swipe the tag as Kendrick goes by. Well done. Once again, Wes Parker-ish over there at first base. That away, Adam.
Well, for Youngman, that is 9 in a row he has retired. His one trouble inning came in the 4th. Issued a leadoff walk to Peterson, then Kendrick had a single. So the Dodgers had 2 on and nobody out, and it was 3-0. And then Youngman got a double play out of Turner. There's another one on the ground. It was just about like that. Right to Segura, and there is out number 2. That double play off the bat of Turner back in the fourth was the big moment of the game for Youngman. And then he got Adrian Gonzalez to ground out. Now he's retired 10 straight. And Taylor Youngman is fast making a name for himself. He's in our shining moment of the game, courtesy of Marshfield Clinic. He's racking up some strikeouts as well.
Yeah, you can see where location a lot of his pitches are. They're down in the strike zone. He's got 5 punch outs, 2 walks, and he's got those 3 double play balls that have helped him out. It's been another impressive performance for Taylor Youngman.
2 outs, Adrian Gonzalez, and he takes a ball low.
A lot of ground ball outs. The only fly ball outs tonight, according to my scorebook, have gone to center field.
Had 2 last inning, and then had the line drive out to center by Puig that ended up as a double play. The base runner, Yasmani Grandal, was running on the pitch, couldn't get back in time. Youngman's pitch count is only at 74. He's in great shape. 2-0 pitch, that's hit hard. Left field, back on it, Parra. Oh, he makes a terrific catch, leaping up at the last moment to pull it off the fence. Gerardo Parra showing the Gold Glove form, and Taylor Youngman with a 3-up, 3-down inning. He is rolling tonight. A 2-hit shutout. Getting some excellent defense. Beautiful catch. Three-run innings tonight for Milwaukee as we head to the 8th. And our Carsoon.com trivia question. We've given you plenty of time to think about this one. Who was the last MVP winner to not be selected for the next All-Star game? Clayton Kershaw, that might happen to him this season. Who was the last, though? If you said Jimmy Rollins, you would be correct. He won that MVP in 07 and he was injured a good part of that 08 season. He did come back and was part of their World Series title. But Rollins starting that run for the Phillies of 5 straight division titles. Yeah, those are the MVP winners to not make it to the next season's All-Star game. Interesting that Ryan Howard is on that list as well. Changes here for the Dodgers here in the 8th. Gonzalez is out. Scott Van Slyke will play first base. And the new pitcher is Joel Peralta.
Yeah, 4th out of the bullpen for Don Mattingly. Last pitch did Peralta on Thursday against Philadelphia, a scoreless inning. And gave up a hit and a strikeout on his record. 15th game and a .245 earned run average for Joel Peralta.
Gene Segura leads off. It's been a good night for the Brewers in all facets of the game. They've gotten excellent pitching from Youngman, who has a 2-hit shutout, and great defense in this game. Lynn's turned in a couple of gems. Segura, Gerardo Parra just made a beautiful catch. 3 double plays in the game. And a couple of big innings out there. 3-run innings in the 3rd inning, and then again last inning, the 7th. But you got to make that guy the headliner right now.
Right.
Against the first place team.
He's making it look easy. I mean, in his first 7 starts this year, throwing strikes, keeping the baseball down, mixing it up pretty well.
Up to now, you could say Youngman's best start in the big leagues was his last one. In a win against the Reds, he went 8 innings and just 1 run. He could best that here today. He's got a chance to finish this game. Low pitch count. Got a shutout going. I can't imagine a scenario that Counsell would remove Youngman with a shutout. Now, if he gives up a run, you might see Frankie Rodriguez just because of the All-Star break coming up. They want to keep K-Rod sharp. We'll see.
Well, pitch count's not going to be an issue.
There's a liner into right, going to be right at Puig for the first out. And Segura's 1 out of 4.
Baseman number 2, Scooter Gennett.
There's only one other starter among the rookie starters in baseball that has a better ERA than Taylor Youngman, and he's probably going to go to the top of the list now with his effort tonight, at least thus far. Chris Heston, who threw the no-hitter for the Giants, is the only rookie pitcher who has a better earned run average from that date on, which was Youngman's first start. And that was Chris Heston's no-hitter day, June 9th. That was the day he threw the no-hitter against the Mets.
I'd love to see these young guys coming from the minor leagues and getting the job done. Talked about them today on the pregame show. Jimmy Nelson, you got Youngman in the mix now.
Little roller to third, the bat breaks, and that's going to be an infield hit for Scooter Gennett. He had all kind of stuff flying off that bat. It broke in 3 different pieces. The ball went to third.
Pitcher number 41, Taylor Youngman.
And that cut bat just kind of flakes off right in the end. That's where he hit it, right off the end of the bat. Ended up with a base hit.
It'll be an infield hit, his first hit of the night.
And back-to-back curveballs. You can see Scooter pulling his head off and right off the end of the bat and dribbles it down the third baseline for a hit. 11 hits now for the Crew.
Yeah, and every player in the Brewers lineup has a hit, including Youngman, the pitcher, who had a single to start a rally in the 3rd. Well, the hitting continues on the road for the Brewers. Remember that amazing road trip. 7 straight wins. They swept a road trip. And the Brewers had double-digit hit totals in all of those games. So they've had 10 or more hits in 9 of the last 10 road games. Didn't get there last night, had 7 hits. You start averaging about 10 hits per game on the road.
Yeah, huh?
You're doing something right. 9 of the last 10. 11 on the board tonight, 6 runs.
A lot of doubles tonight.
Gomez with 2 doubles, driving in 5 runs on those 2 swings. Braun with a double. Lynn had a double. Aramis Ramirez thought he had a double. He was thrown out at second by Puig. Lucroy's also posted a double tonight. Youngman squares and bunts it foul for a strikeout. That'll be the second out. 2 gone. Well, we're talking about young pitching. Youngman kind of moving himself to the top of that list, but Craig Kashan, one of the guys coming back that the Brewers are excited about is Willie Peralta, who got a minor league rehab in tonight.
Yeah, he got his start in tonight at the single A level, and then after tonight now he'll move along to Biloxi. So that's the plan right now for him, is to gradually move his way back up and be with the club by the end of the month. It's going to be about 3, maybe 4 starts in the minor league system. So they want him to start low and keep working his way back up. So after Biloxi, they'll determine if he'll make the next 2 starts at AAA or just 1 start there, which is more than likely to happen.
All right, Craig, thanks.
Got to get the pitch count up. You got to make sure that he's going to be all right. You got to ease him into, when you increase that pitch count.
Here's Parra, slaps one to left center, a base hit. And on the run is Jeanette. The ball goes all the way to the wall, and Jeanette's going to try to score. And he will score as Gerardo Parra comes up with a double. And the Brewers add to their lead. It is now 7-0 Milwaukee.
The ball just scooted right between Ethier and Peterson right there. Boy, off the bat, it looked like he might be able to stretch it for a double, but watch the way this baseball just kind of picks up speed as it hits the ground, and Peterson has to pick it up against the wall. Actually, Ethier picks it up, but Jeanette able to score. If they cut that ball off, Jeanette's not going to be able to cross home plate.
So Parra with 3 hits, 2 runs batted in. Got a double, a homer, and a single. 7-0 Brew Crew. 12 hits now. Here's Lucroy with 2 away. Lucroy tonight 1 out of 4. Had that double and scored a run in the 7th. A 3-run 3rd, a 3-run 7th. Parra and Gomez have been the stars offensively tonight. (2-0) on Lucroy. That one's in there. I feel like the Dodgers are going to need some arms, Rock. They're a team that has most of the pieces, and certainly they have the ability to go trade and acquire players that would fill out their roster if you're talking about trying to win a World Series, and that's what's on their mind.
Yeah, they're having a difficult time getting to Kenley Jansen. They're having a difficult time with their middle relief. J.P. Howe, the other left-hander, is having a nice season, but yeah, looks like the back end of the rotation is in a bit of a flux, and that middle relief has been a problem. Of course, middle relief is a problem for a lot of teams.
Lucroy, center field. Peterson on his way back. And that will retire the side, but the Brewers add 1 more to it. Parra with his 3rd hit of the night. Youngman back to the mound with a 2-hit shutout. well tonight. 11 in a row he has retired since he got that key double play in the 4th inning. And Youngman, who has a pitch count that is in great shape to try to finish this game. Number 76 on the way. That is a bullet down the line by Grandal. That's to the wall. And on the first pitch, Grandal with a double. He has 2 of the 3 Dodger hits tonight.
And slice of that one right down that third baseline, and they had Ramirez shaded off the line a little bit. A good piece of hitting by Grandal, and a fastball going away from him. Hits it hard down the line. So the 3rd hit allowed by Taylor Youngman. That's how good he's been.
Here's Yasiel Puig. 7-0 Brewers. Got a nice lead to work with. Gives Counsell a little flexibility here with Youngman. Much different tonight than last night when Nelson entered the 7th inning with a 2-0 lead. Youngman working here in the 8th. Just had a string that ended at 11 consecutive batters retired. He has given up 2 walks and 3 hits tonight.
The second time that the Dodgers have had a man in scoring position tonight.
And Youngman has faced just 2 over the minimum because of the 3 double plays. Jeff was talking about the Dodgers as the best home team as far as wins go in the National League. The Cardinals held that mark until the Dodger win last night. Pirates beat the Cardinals today in 14 innings. Pittsburgh, a 6-5 win over St. Louis. Cardinals had scored a run in the 14th. Then Andrew McCutchen hit a walk-off home run off Nick Greenwood tonight. Straighten them up. 3-1.
First move for Puig toward first base, and that one almost got a piece of his hand. That didn't miss his hand by too much.
Ground ball. Ramirez cuts it off, throws on the run in time to get Puig. Good play by Aramis Ramirez. Runner does advance to third. And Puig is retired 5-3. Well, our AT&T Uverse Rewind, we show you the 3 double plays behind Taylor Youngman tonight. This was the first on a liner to center. Grandal was on the run with the pitch, and a perfect throw. Beautiful pick by Lynn, and a double play that ended the inning. That was in the 2nd inning, and this came in the 3rd inning on a shot by Rollins, and then the very next inning in the 4th, what I would call the biggest double play of the night. Turner bounces into the 6-4-3 double play. Remember, the Dodgers had 2 on, nobody out in that inning.
Turner at the double play, and then Adrian Gonzalez grounded to first.
Kike Hernandez will pinch hit. And that one's in the air, center field. Gomez makes the catch, and Grandal is in. So the shutout is broken. Sac fly RBI for Kike Hernandez. And it's 7-1 Brewers. But 2 outs and nobody on for Youngman. Youngman has been poised and focused, not just tonight either. From the second he stepped on a big league mound in Pittsburgh. Looks like he belongs, and he is excelling right now as that one misses low. Rollins is 0 for 2. '25-year-old Taylor Youngman. That one missed. 3-0. He's not missing by much, but just a little low, which is where Youngman lives.
Yep. Keeps the ball down, and that's why he gets all those ground balls.
There's a strike.
Only 88 pitches here in the 8th inning. Amazing.
Tried to pull it, and he rolls over one. And Taylor Youngman is through 8. 1 run in for the Dodgers. That's all they've managed tonight on 3 hits. 7-1. We're headed for the 9th inning. Presented by Potawatomi Hotel and Casino. Book your stay now. Saturday night lights of Dodgers Stadium, and it's 7-1 Brewers. It is all going good for the Milwaukee Brewers tonight. Taylor Youngman has been outstanding. That'll be Kyle Loesch tomorrow now. Final game before the All-Star break. Loesch against Brett Anderson, who's been great for the Dodgers this season. Number 3 man in that rotation behind Greinke and Kershaw. 2:30 airtime back in the Central Time Zone right here on Fox Sports Wisconsin. Jeff Grayson will get you started. Kike Hernandez stays in the game to play left field after driving in a run on a sac fly in the 8th. The lone Dodger tally. And Juan Nicasio is the new pitcher, Rock.
Yeah, pretty good numbers for Nicasio. 29th appearance, a .350 earned run average. Last appeared in the game on Tuesday against Philadelphia. Gave up 3 runs on 4 hits in 2 innings. So, although his numbers have been pretty good, got roughed up his last time out. Another guy that gets it up there pretty good. Mid to upper 90s with the fastball.
Ryan Braun will start it for the Brewers. He had a double tonight. He's been on twice, scored twice. Double in the 3rd, almost hit 1 out in that 3rd inning. That came with 2 outs, and then he was intentionally walked in the 7th. Braun was 1 out of 4 last night. He's 1 for 3 tonight. Still sitting on 15 home runs on the season. Thought he hit number 16 back in that third inning, and I think he thought he hit number 16 back in the third. Ball just not traveling as we hit the middle of the summer here in Los Angeles. It's playing now like it normally does at night, which is why it's one of the toughest ballparks to hit home runs in at night.
Tomorrow might be a little different. Day game.
It'll be cooking a little bit tomorrow.
Be trapping a little bit better.
But all that said, they have had an unusual weather spring and early summer, which has led to a lot more days when the wind's blowing out as Braun chases one high and a strikeout for Nicasio. Well, Taylor Youngman looks like he's in a position to finish this game. He's on the bench and staying in his game mode. And
yeah, why not?
Brewers would love to have somebody finish a game this season. They have not had a complete game this year. Lynn takes a strike. Adams had a good night both sides of the ball. He's had an excellent defensive game at first. Has a double and a walk tonight, 1 out of 3. Scored a run. He had 1 of the 3 fly balls off the wall tonight for Milwaukee. He and Braun and Gomez.
And Gomez with the big blow, when he hit it, he thought it was an out. Didn't think it was going to carry. Thought it was going to be an easy catch out in left field, and ended up driving in 3 runs. I think the other 2 guys, Braun and Lynn, thought they hit their balls hard enough to hit them out of the ballpark.
Yeah, that is interesting. I was going to say the same thing. You had 2 guys that thought they hit homers, and then 1 guy thought it was an out, and they all ended up off the top of the wall.
All ended up with doubles.
All doubles. Gomez was the big one, though. That drove in 3 runs back in that third inning. Game change right there. You can make a strong case that Adam Lind is all-star worthy. He's not on the all-star team, but his numbers stack up with the 3 other all-star first basemen, or at least 2 others other than Goldschmidt, who's having an MVP season. Adrian Gonzalez here for the Dodgers, back on an all-star team, and Lind is on his way to see him. His second walk of the game. Anthony Rizzo and Gonzalez, the other all-stars. I beg your pardon. He's out.
And once again this season, the Brewers are teaming up with the Wisconsin State Fair to bring fans the Fair Days double play for just $15. You get a ticket to a Brewers game and a general admission ticket to the Wisconsin State Fair, presented by U.S. Cellular. For details, go to brewers.com/State Fair.
I'm starting to warm up to the cream puff mascot there.
You like it?
Yeah. It's something about the eyes, I think.
Too many other pastry mascots in baseball that you see walking
that
around.
Big donut man that holds up the donut.
That's true.
I remember he came to life in a Simpsons episode once. Gomez pops it up. Puig will come in. 4 out, number 2. Well, there have been many highlights tonight, but Puig has offered maybe the one you'll see the most all over the country in the highlight reels tonight. That throw from right field to gun down Aramis Ramirez. Baseball's version of getting posterized, I guess. I don't think Ramirez had any thought that his double would be challenged, but it was. Goes as a single for Aramis.
And the thing was, Aramis wasn't dogging it. I mean, that's about as well as he could run. Not running all that great these days, but Yasiel Puig showing off that cannon out there in right field.
And that ball's driven into right center field. Peterson makes the catch. Wow. Man, Aramis Ramirez on the wrong end again. Inning is over. All eyes on Taylor Youngman. Can he finish one tonight? Runs with 2 doubles and a walk tonight. But Taylor Youngman is the headliner here in Los Angeles this evening. 89 pitches. He has gone 8 complete, only 1 run allowed. That run came last inning on a sac fly by Kike Hernandez. And Taylor Youngman is in some rarefied air right here, trying to become the first Brewer pitcher to go the distance this season.
Look at where these pitches are. I mean, well located, the fastball in and out. Curveball has been a very good pitch. He's maybe thrown 2 or 3 changeups, and when you're able to control the middle of this Dodgers order, you have a pretty good chance of winning. Remember his last time out against Cincinnati, 8 innings, 1 run. That's where he is right now.
Scott Van Slyke will lead off for the Dodgers, and a big cut and a miss. So as far as rookie pitchers for the Brewers since they moved to the National League, there's only been 2 others to go the distance as rookie pitchers, Ben Sheets and Willie Peralta. Peralta did it 2 years ago, back in July. Matter of fact, almost 2 years to the day. July 9th of 13, he did it against the Reds. Ben Sheets did it in 01, first year of Miller Park, but he did it in St. Louis. And Youngman could join those 2 as the only 3 rookie pitchers to pitch complete games since the Brewers moved to the National League beginning of the '98 season. Pitch count in great shape at 92. There have been 5 pitchers this year to go the distance throwing fewer than 100 pitches. As Youngman powers that one right by Van Slyke, a strikeout. Number 6 for Taylor Youngman, and his first punch out since the 5th inning.
Not messing around with a 6-run lead. Here it is, hit it, and blows it right by him up the zone.
Hardly breaking a sweat or breathing hard. Youngman, who's also contributed with a hit tonight, had a single and a run scored in that 3-run third. Jock Peterson just now batting for the 4th time. Youngman's faced 2 over the minimum.
94 pitches. Incredible. It's kind of stuff Greg Maddux used to do.
Ground ball. The shift is on right to Jeanette. 2 outs.
It'd be amazing to get a complete game from Taylor Youngman. Fewer than 100 pitches. That just doesn't happen these days anymore. It's happened 5 times this year. Mark Burley did it. I mean, that's no surprise. David Price.
Those 2 had 93 pitch complete games. Shelby Miller has had 2 complete games this year for the Braves. The all-star right-hander. One was 94 pitches, the other 99. Drew Hutchison of the Blue Jays had a 96 complete game against the White Sox. Youngman's right there. 2 outs in the 9th, facing Kendrick. Brewers haven't had a complete game since Kyle Loesch did it last season at the end of the year. One and 2 the count. These are the kind of games Craig Counsell and the coaching staff enjoy the most. You can step off the gas a little bit and take a mental break.
Just sitting back enjoying the game, basically.
Brewers have not had any substitutions here tonight. And it is interesting that Aramis Ramirez stays in the game at third base tonight, and Hernan Perez, who's typically in there for defense, but a costly error last night.
And it usually happens when you have a big lead late in the game. It didn't happen tonight.
And a swing and a miss, and Taylor Youngman goes the distance for Milwaukee. The Brewers win 7-1, and the tall Texan is quickly establishing himself as one of the best pitchers in the game right now during this window. 8 innings his last start, goes the distance tonight. Gomez drives in 5, and Taylor Youngman becomes the first Brewer pitcher to ever go the distance at Dodger Stadium. Tonight, game number 57 for the Brewers here in Los Angeles. Youngman is the first. What a performance, Rock.
And he did it on pitch number 100, unfortunately. He couldn't get under 100, but just an incredible job. I mean, Craig Counsell's got him tickled. Didn't have to use anybody in his bullpen. Actually got somebody up in the 9th inning just in case, but a 3 double play certainly helped. Taylor Youngman goes to 4-1. And all 4 wins have come on the road this year.
100 pitches, 9 innings, 3 hits, 1 run, 7 strikeouts. It's time for Brewers Live. We check in with Jeff Grayson in our Fox Sports Wisconsin studio.
Tonight's attendance, 49,000.